The day I was diagnosed was several days after I had had the x-ray made at the telephone company where I worked. And it said that I needed to come back to the health department, that there was something wrong with the x-ray. So I went back, and then later we got word that I needed to go to Waverly Hills. And we had planned on our vacation. It was the first vacation we were going to have. And Michael was just 2 years old then, and we were really excited about it. And I asked if I could wait until we got back from our vacation, and they assured me that I needed to come right away. So they said I would only be there for 2 months, which was a mistake. But I was very sad because I was missing my vacation, for one thing. And when I had to say goodbye to Michael, that was really a bad time for me because I hadn't been away from him since he had been born. So we went to Waverly, I think it was about the 15th of April of 1950. And I didn't get out until September the 26th of 51. The day I came to Waverly was, I had left Mike with the babysitter, and my husband brought me to Waverly, and they put me right to bed. And I had to stay in bed for 2 or 3 days. But the night that I was there, after 7 o'clock, some of the other people who were up and walking around came in to visit with me, and that was nice. They made me feel really welcome. So that wasn't too bad a day, except missing Michael. We had to wake up at a certain time in the morning if we were going to get a wash pan to wash with. And I thought when they asked me that everybody woke up at that time of the morning. And I would get up, and usually if I'm depressed, I sing. So I would sing. Well, I discovered later that the people on the other side of me got to wash at night, and they didn't really appreciate me singing in the morning. So I started washing at night as well. When people came to see me, there was a difference. There were some that just accepted the fact that I was sick, and some that figured that they might be catching something. So there were 2 different ways of visiting. I did have a lot of visitors, though, until my husband moved to Logan County after he found out that I wasn't going to get out in 2 months. So that made a whole lot of difference. I didn't get to see that much of him. The elevator was right outside my door on the other side of the hall, and it would come up and the doors would open, and when I was able, I would peep out the door to see if it was anybody coming to see me, and there wouldn't be anybody there. So then later on, the doors would close and it would go back downstairs. And I thought that that was kind of weird. I made some wonderful friends. I had 3 especially. There was one, she was also Catholic, and so she came down and told me that if I requested, Father would come and give me Holy Communion, which was really something I would really have missed. And she also became one of my lifelong friends until she died. There was another friend that was, her name was Mrs. Brokar. She and her husband liked me really well, and I would go over into the room up there that's sort of like the tower, and she had a really nice room, and all her room was full of flowers, and I really enjoyed visiting with her. And we would sit there and watch the sunset together, and that was nice. And when I moved away, they came down to see me, and it was really nice to have a friend like that. And several other I've made friends with, but they're all dead. And so I'm the only last of the Mohegans. The staff. There were good guys and there were bad guys. And we soon learned who the good guys were. And sometimes the bad ones would judge us wrongly. You might not want to put this in, but Margaret, the other Margaret, and I were on the glider one night on the porch, and we were listening to the radio, and it was the Rosary on the radio, and we were lying there on the glider, covered up, listening to the radio, saying our prayers. And this one nurse came by and got all upset, and she says, "The nerve of this, get up and go back to your rooms." I never saw such a thing. And I didn't learn until years later what she had really thought. She didn't think that we were saying the Rosary. And it was a surprise to me years later to find out all about the two people being together like that. That just made me laugh in a way. She couldn't have been more wrong. Dr. Spundy was Latvian, and he had come to this country, and he was a really good doctor. But we asked him one day. We only got to go home to see our families 4 times a year on holidays, after you were not where the people could catch it. And so we asked him one morning when he came by when the 4th of July started. And he was being cute. He says, "Oh, the 4th of July, it starts at 12 o'clock. So I had my husband meet me at the back door. So I left at 12 o'clock. And they didn't like that. After they discovered the next morning I was gone, they threatened to not let me back in, but they did. But anyhow, he said 12 o'clock, so that's what I took for granted. I don't really think that I spent too many holidays there. I was able to go home just about every holiday. 4th of July, Easter, Christmas, Thanksgiving. There was just 4 times a year. At first I didn't have any procedures done, but then they came up with the idea that you could inject air into the pleural wall and push your lung down to help it to heal. And so they were pneumothorax treatments. And they would usually give you some sort of a shot to keep it from hurting you. But if you took that, then you had 2 sticks instead of 1. So I just let them do it without that. But they were very uncomfortable, to say the least. I had that treatment about 7 or 8 months. It feels kind of like you're going to smother. It was very uncomfortable. And so I had to have those about once a week. And I just really dreaded the procedure completely. And I don't really think it did any good. That was really the only treatments that I got at Waverly. We couldn't go to the cafeteria until we got up better able to go. That was one of the advantages of being better. We got to go to the cafeteria. And I had a friend on the other side of the wall from me. We used to knock on the wall at each other. And we went to the cafeteria together. And the guy down in the cafeteria, the way we ate, he said that when we got home, our spouses would be sending us back because they couldn't afford to keep us. And I thought that was kind of funny. But the food was reasonably good, except for the bread. And after my husband went down to the country, I had to eat what they provided. and the buns smelt and looked really good, but you opened them up and the middle was full of bugs. And so I finally got to the point where I could just take the middle out and throw it away and eat the rest of it. I understand now that probably that got in their flour and they couldn't afford to throw it away. But it still made the eating the bread just the crust part. Walking down there and being able to eat at the table instead of having to eat in your bed was really a nice change. And I gained from 110 when I went in until I got to be 180 something. My husband used to bring me food before he left to go to the country after he found out I wasn't going to get out in 2 months. And we would have aluminum foil, and he would bring cooked hot dogs. And so we would take the top off and put the hot dogs in aluminum foil and lay them on the radiator so that they would be warm. And we just did stuff like that. And we did fine until I had a toaster, and he brought me raisin bread. Then I had to give that up because it smelt up the whole floor. So conventional I'm not. But anyhow, I really feel like that my sense of humor got me through a lot of that. When I was in my room, I read a lot. They had a wonderful library there, and I would get books from the library. Also, they had an OT shop, and the lady would come up and show you how to crochet. So I learned how to crochet while I was there. I really liked to look out the window, and I could see the treetops. For months, I was in my bed, and I couldn't see anything but just the tops of the trees through the screen on the porch. But the bad thing about being on the porch is that they rolled you out in May, and you didn't come back in until the snow was on the foot of your bed. I like to froze, and it's a wonder I didn't catch pneumonia out there. But the first year I was out there, I had my husband bring me 2 sets of sweats to wear instead of pajamas, and I still got cold. As far as entertainment, I really don't recall there doing anything like that, except once in a while someone would come and play the piano, and it would go down if we were able and listen to that, but that wasn't very much. I don't recall anyone passing away because they had a way of keeping us from it by putting a do not disturb sign on their doors, and then they would take them out at night. So you didn't know that they were gone until they were gone. And you didn't know whether they had gone home or what had happened to them. I really feel like that time came when I found out that I wasn't going to get out in 2 months, that it was going to take maybe years. And I was really low, I can remember that, because all the time I was missing my child and my husband. And to think that I was going to be there over the 2 months that they told me I would be there was just almost unacceptable. And I really felt low that day. On Monday, the doctor would come by and give us our evaluation. And he told me that since I had been walking the road and doing, I guess you could call it being an altar boy for the priest, I would stand outside the door and while he was hearing confessions and go in and clear the room for the bedpan so that it would be out of his way and things like that. And I had been going to the occupational therapy room and bringing things back for the guest. So I had been doing all the things I was supposed to be doing. And he told me I was going to be leaving. On my final day, I woke up and I was really happy because I know that that was the last time I was going to wake up at Waverly Hills. and that made me really happy. So I got dressed rather quickly after I ate breakfast, and I went for my walk. And when I came back from my walk, the girls in my area had put presents underneath my sheet and humped it up. And I was really surprised that I had all those presents from those people that I had not known before, ever. And the doctor said that they were so glad to get rid of me, they gave me presents. But that afternoon, my husband came and got me, and I was free of the place. I felt like I had been let out of jail. But they were really nice people. They did the best they could. They were really experimenting. I think they thought that they could freeze the TB out of you by leaving you out in the cold like that. That was probably the worst parts, is being not able to put your bed back in the room until the snow came on the foot of the bed. So we spent a lot of time on the porch. And that was not the answer, but they were trying. I was a little apprehensive about going back to Waverly because I didn't know how I would feel when I went through those doors again. But I got over it because I realized that I didn't have to stay there, and that was the problem. The first time I went, I didn't know how long I would be there. I was a little disappointed when I saw that the place wasn't as nice as I had left it, and it had gotten really vandalized during the time that it was completely empty. On husband's night, if my husband wasn't going to be there, I would leave my room and go out on the porch so that I would give my roommate some privacy with her husband. And so I did. I walked out there, I guess, about an hour. Looking in the rooms, I could remember some of the faces of the people that were there, some that were very special to me before I left. And it was really, it brought back a lot of memories for when I was there. I had some really rough times out there, but I realized that afterwards that it has kind of set me up for the times that I have now. Nothing compares to being out there, and I can face a lot of things knowing that if I got through that, I could get through anything.